Well, thank you so much for your contribution and participation in the conversation so far. And I think really some positive points to build up on that will resonate throughout the course of the next 2 days here at the conference from Professor Madonsela. So do bear in mind to keep that coming and, of course, aligning it to many of the themes that we do want to focus on. I do want to alert you, especially those who have joined us virtually, that we are running slightly delayed by about 20 to 25 minutes. However, we will ensure that we will catch up on the time. So please do bear with us as our audience members virtually and to those of you here in the room as our next speakers and, of course, participants will continue to join us on stage. A reminder that if you do have any questions, please do keep them in mind. It will make it easier for us to fire away, both online and, of course, here in person. So that will make it easier just to ensure that the logistics of the questions and having them being answered as quickly as possible will also be able to take place. But we quickly shift now to the major conversation and, of course, a message from one of our sponsors who will enable this conversation to shift gears to technology and transformation. Equitable philanthropy. Big words. But how do we implement that? How do we unpack what it means? And of course, even in a country with a digital divide as significant as South Africa's, how is it that we still leverage off of technology, but making it localized in order to address some of the connectivity problems and challenges that we have on the ground? To share the opening message with us today, and of course the first theme, which is equitable philanthropy, this is presented by Vodacom. Let's hear from the Group CEO of Vodacom, Shamil Jusub.
Hi, good day. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about purpose and Vodacom's purpose of connecting for a better future. Now, the approach that we're taking is to make sure that we can really make a difference in the lives of 4 million people. And we want to affect 100 million lives as we go forward over the next few years. So how is it that we're actually going to go about doing this? I think first and foremost, we're in the business of connectivity. So it's very, very important for us to be able to connect people. I think it's fair to say that not everybody can afford access to the internet. So how then do we go about achieving this? Well, firstly, and I think it's for us in every market that we operate in, and I think what's important now is that we'll be covering over 500 million people with the addition of Egypt and Ethiopia into our portfolios. We'll have population coverage of over 500 million people. So how are we going to get more coverage to all these people? I think one of the big things for us is being able to drive rural coverage and to come up with innovative models of how we're going to take coverage, which doesn't normally make a lot of economical sense when you're getting to beyond a certain level. So the really rural parts don't really make a lot of economic sense. But then how do we achieve that without necessarily and playing our role of connecting people? And I think what the approach that we're taking is really to say that we need to find innovative ways of how to make it more affordable for people, but also how to make the business model make sense for us. And if it doesn't make complete sense for us, we still got to do it because we're in the business of connecting people. And that will be cross-subsidized by somebody else. So that's the first part. The second part is how do we get affordable devices into each of these people's hands? And how do we give them access to a 3G and 4G device and really make sure that we can democratize the internet and make sure that everybody has access to the internet? And in that respect, we need to subsidize phones and be introducing handset financing. And in Kenya already, we've basically sold over 600,000 phones that have utilized the handset financing approach through M-Pesa. So it's a very, very important part of what we're trying to achieve. So driving down the cost of devices, financing devices, even subsidizing the devices so that everybody has access to the internet. We've also rolled out in that respect our Connect You platform, where essentially we're giving universities, schools free access to the internet. In that context, there's also zero rated in South Africa, over 1,000 sites during COVID. A lot of that education sites, health sites, and so on. But what we're also doing, which is quite important, is that we're making it cheaper for the 2,000 poorest towns in South Africa to have access to the internet through highly discounted offers. And we're replicating that through all our markets. And through COVID, we also provided 30 gig plus bundles at a really, something like an 80-90% reduction in pricing to students so that they could have access to the internet, and so that education didn't suffer through this period. I think these things become really, really important, because when you're trying to do what's right, it doesn't just become about economic benefit. You have to look at what the real societal needs are. And how can we play a role in delivering that? And so a number of initiatives, of course, in each country to be able to deliver, making the internet access available to all. The second big one for us is driving inclusion in a bigger way. And in that respect, it's making sure, for instance, our gender-based violence programs, are paramount to what we need to do, because gender-based violence in South Africa and in Africa in general is a big issue. So what we've done is we've set up a gender-based violence call center with government. We've brought our Bright Sky apps, which allow people to call for help, but also to see whether they are experiencing a gender-based violence, and then to be able to reach out for help. And when women actually leave, a big part for us is also to make sure that they have a future. So we've put funds aside to make sure that we can train them and develop them, and they can pick up on those opportunities. And like that, we have a number of female development programs as well that seek to drive better inclusion in the workplace, but also to develop young up and coming, female candidates in our different programs, so that they could really, benefit from all these development programs. So that's one part. And then the other part is driving financial inclusion. So financial services become a really big business for us. 61 million customers now buying a financial service product from us. What we see is a responsibility to be able to provide access to finance and financial solutions to all our markets, and be able to get more and more people, driving financial inclusion, so that they can be able to invest, but they can save from our financial services solutions. They can use it to pay, to lend, to save, to invest, and to insure. And that's a big part of our play. And in that respect, you'll see we've launched Pesa. Pesa now, basically processes $325 billion of transactions annually. It's the biggest fintech platform across the continent by transaction volume. So a really, really big play, really driving financial inclusion, making a meaningful difference in all the countries that we operate in. Driven firstly by person-to-person payments, but also social grants and grants going through these platforms as well. The ability to lend is also extremely important, because sometimes a person just needs money to help them, to buy them over till the next paycheck, so that they can buy, the maize or mealie meal so they can eat. And it's that basic need, or to have water and electricity and so on. And what we're doing is to make sure that we can extend them a loan to be able to meet those requirements. And we don't use big, sophisticated credit bureaus to be able to do this. We look at your telco history, and we create a credit scoring for you, and then provide these loans, which can help facilitate basic transactions and basic needs of people. And now we're taking that and actually extending that into being able to provide more services, more financial service offerings, to help you to be able to save, to invest. So if you've got $10 to invest, you must be able to invest it through our platform. So it creates a savings culture. So that's one part. But we're also now bringing the internet into our play as well. And you'll see the launch of VodaPay in South Africa, and elements of that platform already surfacing in the M-Pesa countries as well, in what we call our super apps. And that's taking off quite nicely. In South Africa, we've had 2.4 million downloads in just over 5 months. And that's become really, really important in terms of being able to grow. Why it's important is now customers can access the internet. The app is zero rated, so everybody can browse and look at the different services and be able to then take up the services, but also have lending opportunities available for them. So something that wasn't affordable now becomes affordable. On the merchant side, we've got our own point of sale devices. We're extending loans to merchants, so that they can be able to buy enough goods and services so that they can sell it and pay for it at the end of the day or the next day. And that becomes a big part of the play. So you can take a loan for 10,000 Rand, all the way up to 1.5 million Rand. The ability to order from big FMCG companies is also a big part of our play. So all of this becomes part of the ecosystem that we drive. And also allowing invoice financing to small suppliers who are supplying big corporates like Vodacom. How can we make sure that they can get their payment early? And Vodacom we specifically provide for that, but most corporates don't. So how then do you cater for that? And that's a big part. So we're providing this invoice financing to our customers as well. So we've created this two-sided ecosystem, which is really driving financial inclusion and helping both businesses to transform, but also customers to have access to financing and saving options. And so this has become a big part of our play. And then, of course, also a big part for us. And the third element of our Connecting for a Better Future is daily planning. How do we help to make a difference? How do we achieve our ESG targets? How do we make sure that we're playing a role in climate change? And in that respect, we have our IT.next solutions where we can reduce the power consumption in a building by as much as 20 to 30%. Water solutions where we can help with the saving and the loss of water. And like this, we've created a number of different products and solutions that can be deployed by governments to help, to what the situation around water saving is, an example, or electricity consumption. So, and it's bringing our platforms to bear. Connected Farmer is another one. We now have over 400,000 farmers using our services in multiple countries across the world. And it's really using the power of digital and bringing that to bear within the platforms. And then lastly, there's all the foundation activities, which I think is extremely important so that you give back to communities and help to make a difference. And in that respect, we have 92 teacher training centers in South Africa, where we teach the teachers so that they can teach our children. We have 13 centers of excellence. We have 10 youth centers where we take kids off the street and we train them and empower them to be Cisco and Microsoft technicians and so on. And that's and now we've got Google on as well. So it's becoming, and you start to see that it's becoming a bigger and bigger part of what we do, and you see that these things really playing a meaningful role in the lives of the communities in which we operate. So it's a big focus area for us. And there's a number of initiatives that we're doing, but of course we can't do it all on our own. So we're inviting partners to join us, in walking this journey and helping to use our platforms for good. A good example of that is the vaccine platform that South Africa used and that we made available across Africa. The platform that South Africa used was our mVaccinate platform. And that, helped to help with with making sure that everybody got the vaccines, or at least those who wanted to take it. And I think that's a very, very, very powerful play. So really an invitation for people to join us in this journey of connecting for a better future. Thank you.